RHOSLC star Heather Gay is totally different now. Here's why. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is a spin-off of the classic version that takes place in Beverly Hills, and fans can't get enough. One of the members viewers have seen evolve over the last 5 years is Heather Gay. When the new version first started, Gay was in the midst of trying to find herself. Most people think starring on a reality show wouldn't help you in that search. However, the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City helped her transform into a completely new woman. Gay recently talked to People magazine about how she's a different person these days and how she feels about it. How Heather Gay is different. When the show first started in 2020, Gay was fresh off of leaving the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a religion that's highly popular among folks who live in Utah. She spent her entire life in the church before finally deciding it was her time to leave. It takes great courage to abandon a situation you don't feel comfortable in, especially when there's a high probability your family and friends will judge you. Gay talked about how the show helped her as she began making changes in her life. Gay would also shortly divorce her husband, Bill, after 11 years of marriage. She started a business, Beauty Lab Plus Laser, which has been a great success. Most recently, Gay lost 25 pounds, which she joked by saying, "Thanks, Ozempic." The reality TV star has even published a New York Times bestseller, Bad Mormon. Her second memoir, Good Time Girl, is slated to be released in December 2024. All of this wouldn't be possible without the show, as Gay said it gave her the confidence she needed to pursue her passions. If you've been watching The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, RHOSLC, since the beginning, then you know Heather Gay has always been a fan favorite. From her witty one-liners to her vulnerable moments about leaving the Mormon church, she has been one of the most relatable and compelling cast members. But something is different about Heather Gay now. She's transformed, and not just in a subtle way, she's a whole new woman. So what's changed? And why does this version of Heather feel so wildly different from the one we first met? She's finally embracing her power. When Heather first appeared on RHOSLC, she was struggling to redefine herself outside of the confines of her Mormon upbringing. She spoke openly about feeling like an outsider after her divorce and grappling with the rigid expectations of her community. Now Heather has fully stepped into her power. She's not just talking about being a bad Mormon, she's living it. With the success of her book, Bad Mormon, she has embraced her identity in a way that is unapologetic and bold. Gone is the Heather who tiptoed around controversy. In her place is a woman who owns every part of her story. A new approach to friendships. In earlier seasons, Heather was fiercely loyal, to a fault. She stood by Jen Shah even when the warning signs were flashing, and she often put others' needs before her own. Now she's not afraid to put herself first. We saw her take a firm stance against the toxicity that sometimes permeates housewives' friendships. She's not about blind loyalty anymore. She's about accountability and real connection. Her friendship dynamics have shifted, and it's refreshing to see her set boundaries instead of trying to keep the peace at her own expense. Her confidence is at an all-time high. Heather always exuded charm and humor. But this season, she's radiating confidence in a way we haven't seen before. Whether it's in her business, her personal life, or her presence on the show, she has an undeniable glow-up. Perhaps it's the success of Beauty Lab Plus Laser, which continues to thrive, or maybe it's her newfound independence that has given her this boost. Whatever the reason, Heather Gay is standing taller, speaking louder, and owning her space like never before. She's taking control of the narrative. One of the most noticeable changes in Heather is how she handles conflict and criticism. In the past, she might have backed down or let others control the narrative about her. But now, she's shutting things down before they spiral. She's calling out hypocrisy, addressing rumors head-on, and making sure her voice is heard. This version of Heather isn't afraid to challenge her castmates, or even herself, when necessary. No more playing it safe. Heather's transformation isn't just internal. It's showing up in how she presents herself to the world. From her bold fashion choices to her candid interviews, she's stepping outside her comfort zone. She's more willing to take risks, whether that's in her business ventures, her relationships, or her role on RHOSLC. The days of playing it safe are over. Heather Gay is here to make a statement. So what's next? With all this growth and change, it's clear that Heather Gay is just getting started. She's no longer just the funny, self-deprecating housewife. She's a powerhouse who knows her worth. And while she's still the Heather we fell in love with, she's evolved into someone who refuses to be defined by her past. One thing's for sure, RHOSLC is a whole lot more interesting with this version of Heather Gay in the mix, and we can't wait to see what she does next. Heather Gay has always been a fan favorite on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, RHOSLC, but if you've been paying close attention, you'll notice she's undergone a transformation, both inside and out. The woman who once proclaimed herself a good Mormon gone bad has evolved in ways that have shocked fans, delighted skeptics, and left the Bravo universe abuzz with speculation. So what exactly changed, and why is Heather Gay totally different now? Buckle up, because this isn't just about Botox, though let's be real, there's probably some of that too. From religious guilt to full freedom, Heather's storyline in the early seasons of RHOSLC was heavily centered around her break from the Mormon faith. She wore her departure like a badge of honor, but you could still see the emotional wounds lingering beneath the surface. Fast forward to now, and she's fully embraced her post-Mormon identity with a confidence that feels unshakable. No longer just a woman in transition, she's a woman who has arrived. She's outspoken, unapologetic, and no longer shackled by the guilt that once weighed her down. The business empire that changed everything. Beauty Lab Plus Laser was always Heather's pride and joy, but in recent seasons we've watched it evolve into something much bigger. It's no longer just a med spa, it's a symbol of her independence and success. Heather has stepped into the role of boss with a newfound authority, proving that she's not just a reality TV star, but a legitimate business mogul. The success of her company has given her financial freedom, and more importantly, the confidence to stand on her own, regardless of friendships, relationships, or religious affiliations. The book that set her free. One of the biggest turning points in Heather's transformation was the release of her memoir, Bad Mormon. Writing the book forced her to reckon with her past, unpack years of religious indoctrination, and face the consequences of telling her truth. But rather than crumble under the weight of potential backlash, she emerged stronger. The book became a bestseller, proving that her voice resonates far beyond RHOSLC. It wasn't just a cathartic exercise, it was a declaration of independence, a whole new approach to friendships. Heather's social dynamics have changed drastically. Once the loyal ride or die for certain cast members, she now moves with a more discerning energy. She's learned to set boundaries, stand her ground, and prioritize relationships that serve her instead of ones that drain her. Yes, she's had her fair share of feuds. We all remember the black eye drama, but she's also shown that she's no longer willing to sacrifice herself for friendships that don't feel mutual. Heather 2.0 isn't afraid to walk away from toxic dynamics, even if it means standing alone.